All right, let's go ahead and get started. I want to thank everyone for taking the time out today to join today's webinar that will showcase how to sell online with Quipt. I asked Dylan to co-host this webinar with me today because it's never too late to start to think about how to increase your sales. It may be summer right now, but before you know it, fall and winter will be here, which means that's the year-end rush. And there's more ways to sell online than you may think. And Quipt is a tool, an omni-channel tool that will allow you to help take your real-time inventory and be able to list it to multiple marketplaces at one time. Today, Dylan's going to showcase just how easy it is to sell online with IQ Reseller and Quipt. I do want to mention next week is the ITAD Summit in Miami, Florida as well too. Dylan will be at our booth throughout the show. Can't guarantee he'll be there all the time, but he will be there. So if you do want to learn more about Quipt or IQ Reseller, you can stop by IQ's booth at D22. That's next week at the Fontainebleau at ITAD Summit. So Dylan, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the introduction, John. Hey guys, my name is Dillion Gugin. I'm the head of operations and business development here at Quipt. This is actually our second collaboration webinar between IQ Reseller and Quipt. The last webinar we did about 2 years ago was centered around how clean data is a very important and fundamental component of getting to online, especially when it comes to multi-channel sales. So organization is very important, and that's where a partnership between IQ Reseller and Quipt makes a lot of sense. If you haven't seen it yet, feel free to go check that out. It's on YouTube, and we'll also be posting a replay of this webinar and this recording as well. Today, we're hoping to create an extension of that discussion, dive a little bit deeper into some operational processes on how to sync IQ Reseller into Quipt, and then also get into some of the business analytics and pricing tools that we here at Quipt have that help make some strategic business decisions and things a little bit easier for users to come across when they go direct to consumer and making decisions on whether it makes sense to sell online versus a wholesale. I'll jump right into the demo, and I want to again show how easy it is to connect the two systems. Not a whole lot of integration work because we have an existing plugin where if I go right into IQ Reseller, they have a seamless one-click way to retrieve an API sync token. With that token, you can get that right into Quipt. And so we take that token, put that into Quipt, and then we begin syncing data from IQ Reseller into your Quipt account. Once the data starts syncing, inventory comes through a couple of filters, and we'll dive into what those filters are. Between your warehouse, the status in IQ Reseller, and then various sales reps. And so you can see you can set whatever sales reps you want to come in, whether that's all of them, whether it's very specific sales rep codes that you want to have only that those types of inventory come into your Quipt environment. Very important to ensure that the filters are in place. So not everything from like a unavailable, maybe you have some unfinished parts or unfinished goods or parts, or just inventory you don't want to move into a sellable status. From there, you have some warehouses that you can add into Quipt to manage on a warehouse basis, as well as these filters on the that I mentioned earlier. While that's syncing up, we get inventory into an incomplete status because it is simply just some SKU data. You can see here, there's a lot of red where there's no attributes or no way that we can build listings off of this type of information, where we'll need to match that into a Quipt catalog record. That's essentially just matching your IQ Reseller SKU to attributed data with images with the information needed to create a listing. This is where you can go search our internal catalog. We have a shared catalog between our Quipt users where you can go locate what item you're actually going to sell. Say this is something similar to what you're looking for, but maybe you're looking to create in a different condition. You can always view this and you can either match directly to whatever catalog record you see here when you find what you're looking for, or if any attributes need to be updated, you can select what you want to change and then create a clone. Creating a clone will allow you to just create a unique catalog record for you, fill out whatever you checkbox, and then move forward. So we'll go ahead and hit clone on this. Do some quick test data. Excuse me. We have GS1 certified UPCs, where if you don't want to or don't have a refurb UPC to provide, we can always assign one. And then we will move forward. Wanted to show you a cool tool that we have built in where we can use an AI tool to actually create the titles and features for the item. Once that is created, you will then see that completed record within your live environment. So as I switch over to a demo, or sorry, a live environment from the demo, we can see a list of completed records that this vendor has begun to sell online. As I open up any one of these, you can see this is where you can start managing these feeds outgoing, your prices, and where these are selling. Wanted to show what it looks like from this tile view, but then also we get into some of this important data that we want to get into on this webinar. We go to the dashboard, and that's where we'll get into some of these cool data points here. On this completed catalog record, you'll have the ability to say you wanted to add this to Groupon, one-click feeds. We have all the attributed data and the ability to create listings with what you have within Quipt. So within about 20 different marketplaces, you can connect to those marketplaces and then have Quipt power the activity. We're also feeding, getting buy box information on 4 of the top marketplaces, and we will get more here soon. So currently we're pulling down buy boxes from Amazon, eBay, Walmart, and Back Market. And I wanted to specifically show up this item because you can see buy box information is showing here on the right between Amazon and Back Market. That's showing here. These guys aren't selling on Walmart, but for Amazon and Back Market, we'll use this as here as an example, where we're pulling the buy box directly from an API endpoint with these partners, with these channels. And so it's not a web scraper, it's true data, and we get this once every day. So you can compare once a day your specific prices to the buy box data on the marketplace, and then start to make decisions on whether or not you want to go after that buy box, or if it doesn't make sense to maybe go wholesale. So in this environment, you can see their buy box price is at 150. If I were to go after this on Amazon and go to 149.99, undercut them by a cent, the great game we play after going after buy boxes, maybe this $137.99 payout that you'll get from Amazon is too low. And so, you either need to go after selling these on other channels, or look at other options to get rid of that inventory. You also can balance your run rate and your days on hand. And so I'll go back to this dashboard where we're filtering by the highest selling run rate here for this live vendor, where this is calculated the amount of units that you're selling per day in the past 7 days. And at that rate, how long are you going to have this inventory in your warehouse? So if you're selling this top item at $8 per day, you're going to have this in your warehouse for 104 days. So helps you plan out warehouse space management and things that can be extremely helpful for your day-to-day operations. This kind of separates the traditional buy box objective is to try to get buy boxes as many places as possible, especially if you're only selling on a couple marketplaces. Well, when you have all of the marketplaces you see here, you're able to cast a little bit of a wider net where you'll see some of the run rates that you'll come across are coming from different marketplaces. So Walmart on this item. Well, when we go back to that original item that you see, a lot of the sales were coming from Amazon. And so you'll be able to see specific channel run rates and see where you can really focus your energy to sell on other marketplaces, because it may be selling fine on certain ones. And if you really want to get very detailed into the marketplace sales, you can here. If not, again, cast a wide net, go after sales across all of your marketplace channels and let that organic sales come through. Back to the operational processes in place with the IQ reseller. When the order information comes in from each channel, we push that back into IQR, and we'll create a SO within your system. And so the sales order will come through. You can set some automation rules to automatically allocate inventory with either FIFO or LIFO rules, or maybe the preferred method by your warehouse manager is to just have someone from your warehouse manually assign that inventory if they just want to scan whatever unit they pick off the top of the bin. Scan that in, and then that goes into a sellable order where, or a shippable order rather, where the labels then get cleared, and you can then use Quipt's shipping tools or IQ reseller shipping tools to generate a label and then assign that tracking number to your order. If I go back to this diagram, we're actually pushing all of this different catalog, price and availability, purchase order, invoice, return, settlements, everything back and forth between IQ reseller and your marketplace. And so as you get the tracking number from in Quipt, we'll actually push that ship confirmation out and mark that order as closed. And then we can also use some user-defined data to push that tracking number into IQ reseller if you'd like. Every marketplace is coming out with some repricers and some things to some tools to go after. Quipt, we align with some of those where you'll be able to use the marketplace repricers, and then we'll be able to take that into we'll be able to get that back into the inventory. So if I open up one of these, you'll be able to see the repricer option, where you can actually use, in this case, Amazon's repricer to manage some of these to go after that buy box. Sorry, I accidentally hit my mute button. Apologize for that. Let me get back into here. We have a full cycle operational flow chart if you're interested to see how we are managing data between IQ reseller, Quipt, and the partners. If you're interested in seeing a copy of this, feel free to reach out and I'll definitely get that sent out to you. If I take this from a high level overview, you can see the highlighted sections are where any manual touch points may be necessary. And this goes from the actual catalog implementation, like I mentioned before, the sales process of receiving an order, into allocating the inventory from IQ reseller, and then even into the returns. And so this will show from an operational process how Quipt manages sales on multi-marketplace, and then is able to, again, back to that clean data that we talked about on our first webinar, to ensure that the inventory is allocated properly and pushed all the way through to IQ reseller, so your risk of overselling goes down, and the ease of the data exchanges between the systems are there in place. But that about wraps it up from my side. Again, we will be at the ITAD Summit next week. Feel free to stop by at the booth or reach out to me directly if we want to set up any follow-up calls or demos or specific questions. Now I think we'll open it up to a Q&A. If you have any questions or if you want me to go directly into the system and answer any specific questions you may have, now I think would be a good time to open that up.
Great job, Dylan. If you guys have any questions, you can put it in the chat box. We'll give it a couple of minutes here if there's any questions. We are going to follow up after this webinar with the recording, as well as contact information as well too. So if you have questions for Dylan, feel free to reach out to him or myself as well too. And like Dylan said, and myself earlier in the webinar, we'll both be at the ITAD Summit next week, and we can talk further about this as well too. But the idea of this webinar was to kind of get your minds going and thinking, okay, it may be summer right now, but before you know it, the holiday rush for the online retail sales is here. People start buying more and more for the holidays sooner and sooner and sooner, and it even happens to be Prime Day today. So what are the chances of that? And online sales is only going to increase. But if there's no other questions, we can end the webinar now. Dylan, is there anything else that you want to say?
No, I think you wrapped it up perfectly. I think the time is now if we're looking to get into Quipt and direct to consumer sales this year. With onboarding implementation and making sure that we get everything set up, before we get into the fall and into the winter season. So now's a great time to get involved in a system like this. If you're interested at all, feel free to reach out. And if you're going to be in Miami next week, looking forward to seeing all you guys there.
Dylan, before you go, I have one question for and I know no one really ever thinks about this. What's onboarding like? How long does onboarding take? And say if I was a customer and I said, let's move forward with Quipt. How long could it take to go forward?
It's a great question. It really depends on your catalog and how much you want to go live with. If we're taking over existing channels and marketplaces, we definitely want to do like a mirror and enhance type of deal where we're taking the existing listings that you have on the marketplaces and making sure that those are built out within Quipt's system. And depending on that number, can really influence the amount of time that you will take to onboard. The actual syncing process between IQ and between your channels is fairly straightforward. Those are typically one-click syncs as long as we have the API connections in place, because we already have those plugins within our system. And so building out the catalog becomes the biggest the only thing to really work on. And if you have some resources to put aside to ensure that is created within the Quipt system, awesome. We have some outsourced resources as well. So while you're working on onboarding to new channels and really expanding your e-com footprint, those guys can be working on your catalog for you while you sleep. But we've seen launches and the onboarding process take anywhere between a couple of days to a couple of weeks, depending really on how many SKUs you want to go live with.
Awesome. Sounds like there's a option for all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll wrap it up here. Like I said, we'll get this sent out here in a day or two. And again, I thank you for joining, and thanks.